Okay. Hi.
Welcome to the Wholehearted Living Podcast with Valerie
And Bennie.
Here we go.
We're doing one from a library, apparently, because we're talking very quietly.
I know. It's just weird that we don't, like, because I didn't expect, like, okay, we're going now. And I was like, oh, so let me just ramble this off.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know where to put this mic anymore.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Because all of our listeners want to know.
How are you? What's up?
I am actually doing very well. I'm on my 9th week of 10 weeks of school. So this weekend I have, if you guys care, we, what do? We normally record on Fridays. And so this Sunday, 2 days from now, is when I have my 2 last big projects due for school. And so the last week is kind of silly because we just do a couple of discussions and there is some reading, but obviously you really don't have to do it. I do it because I figure I'm paying for it. I might as well learn. But the point is that it's not. Oh, wait a minute, Iggy, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, Iggy.
Hello, Iggy.
You actually kind of scared me there.
I know. I brain farted because we forgot to mention Iggy. It feels like it's been forever since we've recorded.
I know. You guys probably don't know this. We may have mentioned it before, but we record 2 podcasts on one night, and then we take a week off, and then we do 2, and then take a week off and do 2. But we got behind because I wasn't here last week, and then I think we weren't here the week before. So I think
Kylie
it's been
had
like
her
a
presentations.
month.
It's been nearly a
show.
month or
You're
more.
right. You're right.
4 or 5 weeks since we've done
because she had her
maybe?
show. So you're right. So it's probably been a good month before we've done this. So it's all new to us, you guys.
Yeah. So this is like our first episode. No, but so anyway, the thing is that the 2 big projects are due this weekend. I did one in advance, but then the professor just shared something. She goes, I'm sorry, this is so late. And then she asked for other things. So I have to do some adjusting to the paper, but not too much because the paper is still solid, but she asked for a couple other things. So I just have to add that. Once that's done, but I haven't done anything for the other paper except, now, I just said I haven't done anything, but what I mean is this is a weird class. What they're doing is every single paper that I've done, which is 3 so far, every single paper is part of the final paper. So you only do this little tiny thing for the last part. So that's why I wasn't concerned about it, because the other parts, he said, just make adjustments based on what I said, and then you just go for it. Well, I got 100% on all my papers.
Oh, wow. There you
so I don't really have to make very many adjustments. So all I have to do is do the last little bit. And so there you go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I'm happy. And then I get 3 weeks off, and then I get to talk about this all over again and act like it's the first time I've been in school. So there you go.
Very cool. Very good.
Other than that, things have been going well. I have my internship. I love my supervisor. She's super kind, teaches me. I've learned a lot in just a brief time. And I finally have 5 solid clients. At least it seems like they're solid. What I mean by that is they show up. So I was having clients that were not showing up.
Oh.
And so that was a drag.
Oh.
I don't know. My wife is doing sign language. I'm not quite sure what it is. It looks like, apparently, yeah, I'm not showing off my sexy self. So, other than that, the other thing that's very important to talk about, and every listener wants to know. Are you ready? What they want to know?
I'm sure you're going to talk about football.
Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm a big Chiefs fan, and they had their first game last night. That gives you guys, the listener, knows when we record. And did you watch or know anything about the news? Do you know anything about it?
I just know that the kids talked about it today at school. The teacher said, who watched football last night? And a few kids raised their hand. She asked who they were rooting for, and they said Kansas City Chiefs. And then I didn't know that many people were that many fans of Kansas City.
Well, the kids are fans because of Taylor Swift.
I know, probably.
Yeah.
But then somebody said that they won. So that's all I know.
Okay. What you need to know is, first of all, well, you don't care.
I don't need to know anything, actually.
The one thing you need to know, everybody needs to know, the thing that was amazing is, first of all, the Chiefs look way better than they did in their first game last year.
Oh, that's good.
So that's number one, which is saying something because they won the Super Bowl last year, right?
Right.
I don't know if you guys remember that, but they did win the Super Bowl. And so the second thing is they, with zero time, literally the clock was running out, the other team threw at the back of the end zone, and the guy caught it and came down, and they originally said it was a touchdown. And after looking at it, like, because they're required to check and verify every single touchdown, and they checked, and I'm not joking, you can't see this on YouTube, but if this is the line, the dude's toe was over by that much, and so it wasn't a touchdown.
Oh.
And so it didn't count. And so that ended the game. We
my
won with that.
gosh.
And they were going to go, I don't know if you saw this, Iggy. They were going to go for two. Now, this team is very good, and the chances are they would have won the game. If they got the touchdown, would you? I mean, I believe our defense is pretty darn good, but Lamar Jackson was the MVP.
So that was just like a luck. I mean, like really a stroke of luck for the guy not to like go all the way over the line.
Under the line.
Or under,
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, it was good defense. I mean, in other words, they were pushing him out. They were doing what they had to do to try and stop him. But the fact of the matter is that team is really, really good that we played. The team that we played is very, very good.
Who is the team?
The Ravens.
Oh.
And, they were the team that we beat to go to the Super Bowl. So they're in our same division. Like, is it called division? The AFC? Conference. They're in our same conference, which is the AFC. So the AFC plays the NFC for the Super Bowl. And so we had to play them so that we could play in the Super Bowl last year. And we beat them. And, I mean, they're a really good team. And they deserve everything they got. And honestly, if they would have won, they deserved to win. Because it was a good game. It wasn't like, you know, we played poorly and this and that and the other. It was like, no, or the refs were bad. It was, they played really, really good. And we got on the other side of it this time. So I'm really happy. Yeah.
Cool, man.
So that's the end of our podcast. Thank you, Iggy. No, I'm kidding. That's all we need to talk about for the next 3 months. 4 months.
Oh my goodness.
So.
Well, the Red Wings start playing again, so that's cool too. That's a hockey team.
Oh, hockey. Right now, it doesn't feel like anything
Oh my
about
gosh, did
hockey.
you hear about the terrible story about the hockey brothers that were just killed?
Yes.
That's awful.
Actually, it was one hockey brother.
Well, the other one,
the other one was just a brother.
Well, I think he played hockey too, but not NHL.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Oh, they both played hockey?
He just wasn't.
Oh, he wasn't in the NHL.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think he was just either getting there or he was in the minor league. I'm not really quite sure, but yeah, it was pretty sad. So anyway, I mean, not to throw that out there for the listeners that don't know, but the very sad story about it is these two brothers were actually in town together for their sister's wedding.
The next day.
And so they decided the eve of the wedding to take a bike ride and were hit by a drunk driver and killed. And it's
That's
just
horrible.
Unbelievably. Can you even imagine being the family all excited the night before a wedding, like we're getting all the last minute details,
it's gonna
and then
suck no matter what, right?
it's gonna suck no matter what, obviously, because they're my brothers are in town, we're getting married tomorrow, you know, and just to get that call.
No,
like,
and that's what I mean. I didn't mean to undermine what you were saying. I'm just saying it would obviously suck no matter what. But when you're excited, you're on the other end of
exactly.
death.
That's what I mean. You're on a high.
You're on this super high, and you're thinking this is going to be one of the greatest days, literally, of my life.
Right.
And you're on that high, and let's just make the assumption the parents were happy about the marriage,
right.
which I'm going to make that assumption,
right.
and the family
Everybody's
and the friends
yes.
are. Everybody's super
excited. The brothers
excited.
are taking a bike ride together. They don't live together. They have families of their own. They're
That's
not.
right.
And so, God.
Yeah. No, that's just, I don't know what you do with that.
Yeah.
I'm
but
a therapist now, and I don't know what to do.
What do you do with that? You're just like,
well, I mean, honestly, there's
nothing.
There's nothing you can say or do. I mean, especially in the beginning, this is just you have to let them talk, and you have to be able to listen with empathy for a long time.
Yeah.
You don't try to fix people who are going through something.
Oh God, no, absolutely not.
Because there's no fixing.
A lot of listening.
A lot of listening.
Or just being with them.
Or just
maybe they don't want to
talk.
I was just going to say,
want to be there. Just being there,
yeah.
because listening implies that they have to talk,
right?
And that's bad.
Right.
Too. And that's one of the things that's good about a therapist. It's like, I'm paying you to sit here, or, you know, you're free, but you're a professional. So in other words, I don't really owe you anything, because it's kind of a bummer when it's interesting because friends could be therapeutic at times, but they also could be a pain.
Oh, yeah.
Because they could be calling. And what you end up doing is helping the grief. You end up helping the person who's trying to help you.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know, I'm going to be okay.
Right.
And you're trying to console
kind
the
of like
person
when we
who
talked
calls
about
you.
Rhonda when she was
Yes.
here. She almost felt like she had to help people that were going through it because they didn't know how to help her, you know?
Yeah,
and so she's
exactly.
like, I had to be the stronger person to help them, you know?
Rhonda's, we actually had a guest about 3 or 4 sessions or podcasts ago. And so check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, by the way, we never even said what we do. So we are the podcast where we're siblings. And for some reason, we still like to talk a lot because we finished the podcast and we keep talking.
We still have a lot more to say.
And not to mention the fact that we talked for about 20 minutes beforehand. And so we really like to talk, but we are into wholehearted living. And one of us comes with a subject matter. The other person has no clue. And then we just go from there and see what happens. So hopefully you enjoy our banter.
Yes.
A ti te toca. That means it's your turn this time, chica.
Okay. So I'm going to come in with a subject, and I'm not going to lie, you guys. My
You always like to
subject
say that
is
every time.
Because
She always says, "I'm going to tell you the truth."
I know.
She says that to us all the time. You know, the
because
truth.
I do like to tell the truth.
I
but
know,
I got to
but
preface
it's weird that you have to preface it. Like, I guess 90% of the time you're lying.
No, I think because sometimes, you know, some podcasts are curated and very put together. And I personally, I know you do as well, come in and have notes because I've studied whatever it is that I want to talk about and just gather information from different resources. Tonight is not one of those nights. Today, whenever you're listening to this, I have had something on my heart for the last, well, it's been for like a month, but just in the last few days, I'm just like, you know what? I did have something I wanted to chat about, but this is on my heart. I want to talk about it because at the end of the day, I also want people to understand, like, I feel like sometimes we come on here, we do have the fun family banter, but at the same time, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like, does it seem like we always have everything together because we know how to live wholeheartedly? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess so. I could see how people might interpret it that way.
Yeah.
That's not the case, folks.
No.
So, very much not the case.
And for me, this was just on my heart. And I finally just said, you know what? I'm going to talk about this because it's really more of me telling you guys a story. So bear with me. It's a pretty good story. But at the end of it, this is how I'm going to tie it into living wholeheartedly. So I have a friend that I worked out with. Notice I said worked out with. And she kind of befriended me at the gym. She's a very boisterous person with a lot of energy, and she reaches out to a lot of people. And so one day we worked out together in the DUT class. We were in the same group. And from that day on,
say what DUT class
DUT is Daily Ultimate Training. It's kind of like a HIIT style thing that I do once or twice a week. I'm doing more strength training now, but this is what I used to do like 4 times a week. So every time we would do the class, she'd like, Valerie, and I'm not exaggerating when I say she's very loud, and come over here. You're in our class. Make sure our group. You're in our group. And so our friendship evolved from there. And then her boyfriend was equally as nice. And we would laugh. We would have so much fun together. Even after a while, we started working out strength training together because I would be doing my own thing. She'd be doing her own thing. Then she's like, well, come over here. Why aren't you over here? And I go, okay, I'll come over here. And then Peter started working out in the morning. So he started coming over, and then it was the 4 of us working out, and her boyfriend and Peter would do more heavy lifting, if you will.
Right.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. We even went water biking last summer together. And then it just was fun working out with her. And her father passed away. I was there for her. Okay. So anyway, I'm building this all up because she was a lot of fun. She always pulled me over to, like, you know, and always. She even used to yell Pan, and we were like, what the heck is Pan? She goes, well, I call him Pan because his name's Peter. So she would say Peter Pan. So she started calling him Pan. She has names for everybody. So all of a sudden, I'm getting kind of the cold shoulder from her, which I thought was really interesting because she's not that kind of a person, or to me. I'm going to back up with that later.
Right.
But I started doing my own programming. So I thought, I haven't worked out with her for like 6 to 8 weeks, except if we did the DUT class. But then even in the DUT class, she's
not screaming to get you in the group anymore.
No, in fact, quite the opposite. She's pulling other people. You could see her pulling other people to get in her group. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. But you guys know me. I'm not one of those people that just can I confront the problem or the issue or whatever.
She said, you guys know me, but this is true. She doesn't Valerie is not one to sit back.
No.
If she feels like something's up.
Right. Because let's just nip this. Let's not let this fester, whatever it could be. I want to. So anyway, I asked her, I said, is there something wrong? Because this is really weird. This is not usually your personality. This is not, it just seems like you're disconnecting and I don't know why. No, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'm like, okay, this seems weird. It's not fine, but I'm not going to call her a liar.
What else are you supposed to do?
Exactly.
Yeah, what else are you supposed to do? You're lying.
I'm not going to call her a liar.
Right.
So time moves on and Peter's even noticing that there's a disconnect. And I'm like, well, it's weird. I don't understand. Did I do something? So then I come back. Please be honest with me. Did I do something? Because if I did, I want to own it. I want to apologize for it, or I want to offer an explanation for it.
Or go, I guess we don't get along.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
If I'm not your person and you're not mine, that's fine. But just give me a little bit of insight as to what happened. Because it went from 0 to 100, or I should say 100 to 0 fast. And so she kept saying no. And eventually I said, can you just... Oh, I forgot what she said at one point. And I said, okay, so there is a reason. And she goes, well, really, it just comes down to, I want to work out with myself. I don't want to work out with people because I feel like I'm not getting a good workout in. I always talk too much. And I go, okay, that's fair. I get that. I've been doing my own thing for 8 weeks now. So that I totally get that. I'm not even bothered by that whatsoever. So I thought that kind of sealed the deal, if you will. But
except
still,
you said that she was inviting other people at times to do other things. So it was a little bit like that doesn't make sense.
100%. But I just thought, okay, maybe that's just me. She doesn't want, and maybe she didn't want Peter working out with Christian anymore. So this was my way of just telling Peter, hey, just leave them alone. Let them do their own thing. We'll do our own thing or whatever. So then same thing though. The DUT class comes around. I expect us to just maybe not be in her same group. I don't care if I'm in her group to begin with, but she's not even saying hi. I'm like, this is bizarre.
Odd. Very odd.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
So then, now I'm going to fast forward a week or two. Another friend of ours that goes to the gym said, I want to talk to you later. And I said, okay, fine. And I kind of knew what it was. So we ended up talking later. She said, has this person said anything to you? Or do you? And I said, well, she told me that she didn't really want to work out with people. And she goes, well, yeah, she said you were very bossy, that you treated her like you were her mother, and that you had to, whatever you were working out, you made them do the same thing.
Wow, you're a bitch.
Right?
I'm sorry.
Right? The funny thing is the first thing is, if you know this person, there's no way.
She sounds like the person who's more dominant.
Yes, 100%. And I was like, okay, well, this is not true whatsoever. In fact, we had an app and we both had the same app, and we're like, okay, let's pull up a workout from there. And then whenever I go, oh, this one says to do this, that, or the other, she goes, oh, I hate that movement. I go, okay, well, let's just modify it. You do this instead of that. And I'm just going to do this because I actually do like this movement. Okay, that works out. It was always like a give and take for everything. So I'm like, how in the world? So then I'm like, and I treated her like my daughter. I said, she goes, she's not my mother. She was treating me like she was my mother. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. So now I'm going to go again a week later. I confront her and I said, so rumor has it, because evidently she's told a couple people this.
Which is weird, because it's kind of one of these things where I'm thinking, why not just not say anything and just move on from you?
Okay, I'm going to say something at the end of this, because then it makes sense. But I said, okay, this is what I heard, and I'm only coming to you with this because I have to clarify how it was ever that I was acting like your mother. And she goes, well, because sometimes I would get to the gym before you and you would ask me what time I got there. And I go, okay, well, pretty much because we always got to the gym at 6 a.m. And then when I would arrive, I would notice you were already completely sweaty. I would just go, oh my gosh, what time did you get here? You were already sweaty from work. Thank you. And I go, and she's like, yeah, but it just seemed like you were trying to keep time on me. I go, I didn't want to say her name. I said, that was basically just saying, wow, you've been here a while and you've been working out hard. Obviously you're sweaty. I was just curious what time you got here. Well, and then also when we would leave, you would say, oh, you guys are leaving already. Where are you guys off to? I go, I was just trying to be a friend. And, you know, I if that was treating you like like I was your mother, then I'm not doing a very good job because I don't act like that with my own kids. You know what I mean? I was just like,
yeah.
So anyway, it was just a lot of weird excuses and I don't know what it was. But now I'm going to fast forward or back up a little bit. There are people when she and I were actually very, very close and working out together that she would say, I used to be her friend, but I don't talk to her anymore because XYZ. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. And then one time I was talking to this one guy and I was just like, you know, we said, hi, what you doing? How was your weekend? Blah, blah, blah. And then I would go back over to her to start working out and she'd say, I don't like him anymore. He's just not a very good person. And I go, oh, he's a very good person actually. And I said, I mean, I guess I don't know him that well. I don't know. But he seems like a very good person. No. You know why he's not a good person? Because he likes so-and-so. And that person hurt me because of XYZ. And I'm like, okay,
wow.
So you're lumping that person in just because they're friends with it. So now I'm going to take it a step further. So now one day we're all working out in this duck class and the music is going. And it's usually pretty good music, but it wasn't her style music. And so she goes to the coach, can you change the music? And he's like, maybe. And then like 5 minutes later, she goes, are you going to change it or not? And he goes, no, people are seeming to like it.
Yeah.
And then
fine.
she grabbed her bag, walked away and went to the other side of the gym and worked out and didn't come back to the class. And so later after everything was over, I go, what happened? She goes, I don't like the music. And he said he wasn't going to change it when I said, can you please change it? I go, well, I actually really liked it. It was 70s style, right? So I go, well, I actually really liked it. She goes, I don't like it. It's not good to work out to. And he wouldn't change it for me. She never spoke to him again and she would never take his class again.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it's like a little pattern. And so, anyway, I'm telling you guys this whole story. And does this have is this a podcast about wholehearted living? It bothered me. It hurt me a lot because I don't lose friends, but I also don't need friends. You know what I mean? So it's like, part of me was like, Peter's like, just let it go. What, do you really want a friend like that? I go, it's not that I want her as a friendship. I'm just trying to understand what happened and where the disconnect was. If she really thought I was treating her like I was her mother is weird because she's the dominant one. She's the one that I wanted to go take a class one day in the dance room. It was called Muscle Makeover. And she's like, no, work out with us. Why do you want to take that class? It's so hot in there. Come work out with us. And I'm like, I'm going to do that class on Thursdays. I'll come out with you on other days. But so I'm just like, how did I seem like the one that was trying to run the show? Or, you know what I mean? I don't know. I talked to a few people lately who said the same thing, that they were friends with her and then she just pretty much shunned them with no explanation whatsoever. Nothing. Just blocked them on Instagram, stopped talking to them, whatever it is. And somebody said that they said something like if she's not the center of attention, then she feels threatened and she just disconnects from you. And I was like, I don't want to be the center of attention. So I don't know how if that was the case, I don't know how she'd be threatened by me. But it's just sad. And go ahead. Sorry.
So no, what I'm thinking about is what I'm wondering for you is, so I don't want to go into therapy mode. So this is I'm literally saying to myself, okay, you have all these questions, but
I don't care.
But I don't want to get, well, I don't know if it's helpful to everybody. And so I want to make sure whatever I ask is helpful. What I would say in general about people such as her is, so people who do not have boundaries have a very hard time with people who do. So boundaries refers to the idea of, you know what? I respect the fact that you don't want to go into that class, but I want to go into the class. I'm going to go into that class, but enjoy. I don't have a problem with the fact that you don't want to go with me to the dance class. But a boundary is saying, even though you would like me to stay with you, I'm not going to.
Right.
I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right.
And so the thing is that even as a parent, as a individual, whatever the case may be, when someone sets a boundary and the other person does not respect the boundary or has a problem with the boundary, it's almost certain that that person does not have boundaries. They don't know how to do boundaries. And so in the case of not being able to do boundaries, they feel like they're being taken advantage of a lot because they don't have boundaries. So
that makes sense.
So even though she's very strong, See, her strength is probably in order for her to get a sense of control, and instead of being just having boundaries and having her limits and saying, this is what I'm willing to do and this is what I'm not willing to do. So the teacher, I was going to say the professor, the coach says, I'm not going to change the music. That's a boundary.
Yes.
She's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then not only am I out, but you have, gone beyond whatever. So I don't really want to totally judge this woman because I have no idea who she is. But what I would say is, in terms of, let's just talk wholehearted living, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that in order for us to be able to respect others' boundaries, we ourselves have to have our own boundaries. And if we don't, what ends up happening is that we either feel taken advantage of, we feel disrespected, and we struggle with whatever it is that's the situation that's going on. In your case, which is interesting, is that you're having a hard time, it seems to me, and say I don't want to be therapist on you, but it seems like you're having a hard time because in general you get along with people, and the fact that you can't fix this is pissing you off a little bit.
The funny thing is because now that I'm outside of it, so to speak, because I knew these people that she'd had issues with. In fact, there's another friend of ours that used to actually work out with us, and she did the same thing. She suddenly just blocked her on Instagram. The other friend started messaging me and going, what happened? Do you know what happened? And when I would ask this particular girl, like, why did you start blocking so-and-so? And what happened? We all worked out together. You guys were so close. And she's like, I see her Instagram and I just don't like the kind of person she is. And I'm like, well, that's just interesting because I don't know what she's showing her workouts. Like, she really doesn't, you know what I mean? It was very weird. I just thought, okay. I said, well, I hope you don't mind that I'm still her friend because she hasn't done anything wrong as far as I'm concerned. No, of course. And that's another thing too. What I think actually happened was she and I were walking into the bathroom one day after, working out, and there was another girl in there who she disconnected with. And I said, good morning to her. Oh, sorry. Take her name out too. I said, good morning. And then she's like, good morning back. And then we went in and washed our hands and stuff. We came back out and we're walking through and I said, have a good day. Walked out. Literally within the next week or two is when this started happening. And it didn't dawn on me, I think, until Peter might have said something. I don't remember. Or maybe I said something to Peter like, God, you know what? Now I think about it, she might be upset that I said hello to this person that she doesn't talk to anymore.
Yeah.
And
so the question for you is, in terms of your wholehearted living, is the same question Peter had, your husband had, which is, why is this captivating you?
And it really is, because if she doesn't want to be a friend of mine anymore, or if I did in fact do something wrong to her, please just be honest and tell me that. Please just say, you know what, I'm not jiving with your personality anymore. Or, you know what, or you did this, or Peter said this and he hurt my feeling. I mean, whatever. Then I can just say, okay, closure, move on. I'm fine with that. But for her to like bounce around and say these weird things that are honestly lies, unless she really believes them, so it's just kind of weird to me. It's just bizarre because of the pattern of how she's cut off other people with no explanation. Right. Like literally no, like I even asked that one person that I said hi to in the bathroom after this happened, I go, did she ever give you a reason why? And she goes, nope. And we were friends for years, and complete disconnect.
So the thing that's interesting is, and for the sake of the listeners and me not going into like total therapy, is what I think is interesting for you is a wholehearted living person is, it seems to me, but you can totally correct me if I'm wrong, but someone else's behavior that you cannot control is controlling you. Mm-hmm. It's whether
that's fair.
And so the thing is, how do we, as trying to live wholeheartedly, separate ourselves so that we go, you know what? This is a situation that sucks. It's not even just, and it could be completely incorrect. But how do I release this? How do I surrender this? How do I give this over and say, you know what? I can't, I'm not going to let someone else control me and my mood and how and I imagine it affects you every single time you walk in the door. You're probably thinking, oh God, how am I going to deal with this?
Well, I'm going to let you finish your thought.
No, that's
no,
fine.
I agree with you 100% on that. And that's what I basically had to do. I basically had to just like kind of just release and just say, I need to move on. I'm not going to keep thinking this through because it's just weighing on me. She's doing her own thing. She doesn't care. You know what I mean? But what I ended up doing.
So here's the key thing. So this is another thing I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I talk?
Well, I was going to tell you what I ended up doing to embrace living wholeheartedly.
Okay,
but
go for it.
You want to finish that thought? And then
Well, the thing I want to finish is what you just brought it up again. So, because the other thing that's interesting about this is that in order for us to be able to let go, because you've mentioned, oh, I ended up talking to this person, I ended up talking to this person, I am talking to this person, and the thing it's when we do that is we're feeding our own fire. Mm-hmm. We're feeding our own fire. You can plug it in real quick. Sorry for YouTubers, our lights just went out. You're feeding your own fire, and so you're ultimately creating a situation where you're bringing in more of the particular, you're bringing in more of your issue with that person by having that communication, by continuing that communication. And so one thing is like, I'm just not going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
I just, because that's none of my business. You know what I'm saying?
No. I agree with you 100% on that. There's no reason to keep like regurgitating everything. And,
regurgitating, that's a great word.
Well, the only reason I went to this one person and said, because I thought, well, maybe you can tell me if there was, if this is like what she, like, because I never got an answer. And she goes, I never got an answer. And I go, okay, well then this is just what she does. This is how it is, you know? But that's about the time that I just said, I just need to move on. I just need to, but it is hard because we see each other every morning at the gym, whether it's either in the class or we go off to the, do our own thing. They're doing their own thing in certain areas. But I'm not the kind of person, because even though we're not working out together, even though she's not said to me, I hate you, or I've not said that to her, anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to I am going to still be the person that I am. And I was just telling Peter this morning, we happen to both wear the same exact color shirt today at the gym. And so,
Was it red? Did it say Chiefs?
No.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
But the funny thing is we used to do that often without thinking about it. Like we would just show up and almost have the same colors on or whatever. And so I walked by her as I was going to another side of the gym, and she was like getting a drink of water. They took like a slight break in their class, and I didn't take the class. So anyway, I walked by her. I go right behind her. I go, see, even though we're not even friends, we still wear the same colors together.
Oh my God.
And she laughed. She goes, oh my God, look at this. That's so funny. And because that's just, I'm not going to be that person. It takes more energy for me to be like cold or
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, so in the end, I mean, there's a lot of things, but what I will say is this: when it comes to wholehearted living, one thing that it seems to me, I'm going to overstate something, but I'm going to say it for the sake of the podcast. Forgiveness is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Forgiveness.
Yeah.
And forgiveness is, I don't know how you define forgiveness. How do you define forgiveness?
Well, I mean, the definition, like for me, if I'm going to look at it in this situation, like I'm going to forgive this without her even asking me, can I be forgiven?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea of forgiveness is you don't owe me anything. Mm-hmm. The idea of forgiveness, like from a biblical perspective, is the idea that I'm in debt to you and you're relieving me of the debt.
Right.
You're relieving me of the debt. And it doesn't matter if I earned it. It doesn't matter if it was, it doesn't matter the circumstances, but you owe me $1 million, but I'm telling you, nope, you don't. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I have to do something for you.
Right.
No, you actually don't.
Right.
And you don't even have to ask for the forgiveness of the $1 million. It's just, I'm giving it to you.
Right.
And so it doesn't mean that you didn't do anything wrong,
mm-hmm.
the person.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean the person didn't do anything wrong. It doesn't mean that we're saying that we're going to be best friends.
Right.
Which is a huge thing with forgiveness, because a lot of people think, well, that means that I got to hang out with them. No, it doesn't.
Right.
It just means that when we're releasing that person of the emotional debt that they've caused us, and we say, I'm going to move forward. Mm-hmm. And even the consequences of the fact that if this is the case that she's talking bad about you, she's throwing shade.
Yeah.
See, like the kids say.
Wow.
The kids say that. Don't they,
They
say
do.
that, Iggy?
They do.
Iggy's not a kid, but that's right?
No,
did I
it is.
use the
You
term
did
right?
use it right.
Okay,
You did.
yeah. So if they're throwing their shadow around, no, shade. If they throw shade, the truth is that when we forgive that person, so because if we don't forgive the person, what happens is it's like a saying that I've heard many, many, many times. It's like drinking poison and thinking the other person's going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
And the truth is that what we need to do is just go, I'm done with this. I'm moving on. I forgive the person. You don't even have to tell them.
No.
One time I did something so horrible. I did something horrible. It doesn't matter. I actually don't think I did something horrible. But the person came up to me and said, Bennie, I want you to know I forgive you of what you did. And I said, what did I do? And they told me something. And I went, okay, thank you. but the point what that person was trying to do was say, I want you to know you hurt me.
Yeah.
It wasn't really
Right.
about their own forgiveness.
Right.
It was forgiveness is and especially when we think about it from a biblical perspective, it's like I'm doing it anonymously. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with
Well, that's
what
exactly
you did.
what I was trying to say with my point of like walking by her and just going, you know what? She isn't my enemy. She isn't like,
Yes.
and I don't want that. I don't want that friction of walking past her in the gym, like, oh my God, you know? And so I just thought, I'm going to say something, you know? And
Right.
she laughed and it was like, oh my God, how funny that we're wearing the same thing. And so, and that was my way of saying, in a nutshell, I'm forgiving you, and without saying that word to her, and I'm moving on.
Right.
And I'm not, because I'm not, like you said, the word regurgitate. I'm not going to regurgitate this over and over. This is clearly a pattern with this person. And I'm not going to try to figure it out anymore. I spent a month or so trying to figure it out, and I'm not. So talking about wholehearted living, and I feel sorry for Peter because all of a sudden the boyfriend just follows suit, and he's not talking to neither one of us anymore.
Well,
either,
Peter
so.
deserved that. We all know that. Just kidding.
No, but
He's
but
probably
anyway,
wearing some
but,
weird hat.
You know, I know
It's
this
probably
is
about the gold wings. What are they called? Red wings.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, this is a weird podcast. It's been on my heart. How am I turning this around to live a life of wholehearted? Because in all honesty, as these things were happening, I was asking myself, this isn't wholehearted living. I keep like wanting to figure this out. I keep wanting to ask her questions and what happened and then I finally just had to relinquish and say, you know what?
I love that word. That is a really
You like to regurgitate it and relinquish.
No, relinquish is such a great word.
Yes.
It's actually, I don't know if you know, but there's a root word of that, and it has a lot to do. There's a lot of biblical principles with the idea of relinquishing your rights. Because see, that's the problem right now, is that there's in your heart of hearts, you're thinking, I don't deserve this. I have the right to get this fixed. I have the right to make my name right. And what you're doing is, and that's why I use the word surrender, but you're relinquishing. You're saying, you know what? None of that matters.
Yeah.
What matters is that I'm not drinking poison anymore.
Exactly.
And I'm going to continue to move forward.
Right.
I'm going to enjoy. I'm not going to go into the gym every single time with the hairs on my neck going up a little bit and feeling like, oh, am I going to see her?
I'm not going to be in there with the weight on my shoulders unless I'm doing a back squat or something. I'm so funny today.
Yeah. Looks aren't everything.
You guys, I did say some funny things before the show, and I wish I could repeat them, but you know how that goes.
You have to repeat them now. You can't tell people that you did funny things and then you can't.
I don't remember what it was. It was something about
Iggy, what
two
was it?
negatives and a positive.
It was Patty gave someone a negative scan for arguing about two negatives. When you multiply two negatives, it becomes a positive.
Yeah. And then she goes, I gave him a negative scan. I go, oh, if you would have given him another negative scan, it could have been a positive.
That's right. I hope you guys understood that. I guess you had to be there.
Yeah, you did. You did.
It was a
Thanks for listening, guys. It's good to chat about that one more time.
One more
Get it
time.
off. Yeah.
We'll tell you the second joke that she had in the last 3 years next episode. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate it, Valerie. You know what? One thing it is a big deal, the fact that we talk a lot about living wholeheartedly. And I think obviously we highlight the things that we do well.
Right.
But we don't do everything well, right?
No.
I, on the other hand, really haven't made a mistake in years. We couldn't stop. We'd have so many podcasts.
This would be like
crap.
a 4-hour podcast.
We just talking about my stuff. Anyway, thank you for being vulnerable, because that's not easy. So
thank you.
Anyway, folks, we are at Wholehearted Living with Valerie and Bennie. At wholehearted_living_podcast on Instagram, and we'd love to have you check us out. We're on YouTube as well. At Wholehearted Living, and then there's a beautiful picture of my sister and me.
Yes. And I haven't shared in that Instagram in quite a while, and I'm so sorry. It's been a crazy getting back to work and everything.
Yeah,
but I'll get back on that, you guys. Thanks for being here.
So we're very glad that you're with us. Iggy, thank you again for keeping us in sound. I don't know how to say that better.
I like that you say it like that, but don't keep saying that. I don't know why I say it like that. Just say thanks for keeping us in sound.
Oh, thanks for keeping us in sound. I'm done. Thank you.
All right, you guys. Thanks for being here. We'll chat with you later. Bye.
Ciao.